We're talking about period poverty in Nigeria. Every girl must go through the menstrual cycle. This is something that nature has not given her a choice. She cannot decide whether she wants to have it or not. More still, she cannot even say, okay, this is the time I want to have it, or this is the exact place I want to be when it comes. It's something that nature has just made, a compulsory stage for the feminine gender. Approximately 1.2 billion women across the world do not have sufficient access to menstruation sanitation products. That's according to the records we have, that it leads, and this because of the difficulty in access to this product, it leads to unhygienic way of practicing the menstrual cycle, which can also cause a whole lot of infections to the feminine gender. UNICEF also stated that 1 in every 10 African girls they have to miss school due to their menstrual cycle. And some other countries all over Africa, they have tried to implement 1 or 2 laws. An example is in Kenya. Kenya has decided to put in place a law which will distribute about 140 million sanitary towels to girls. Whether they have been able to live up to this, we have not been told. But then the good thing is that for a start, they have been able to place the law. We're bringing this discussion home right now. And when I talk about bringing it home, I'm talking about Nigeria. A whole lot of people, even in this country, still find it difficult to feed. How much more to get sanitary towels for their children? In the studio with me today, I told you I'm garnished with broadcasters today. And once more in the studio, I have with me someone that is also a broadcast journalist. She's a media trainer, a transformational leadership coach. And also, I need to say this, she retired as assistant director from Radio Nigeria, where she practiced for over about 23 years. And she's also a broadcast content development expert, and she's been there for over 10 years. This lady, she's also author of books. We're not talking about books today. And she's a John Maxwell team coach. I'm talking about no other person but Almighty Funke Treasure herself.
No Almighty there. God is the only Almighty. But hey, Yinka, it's so very good to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. You know, when you are hosting a show and your teacher is your guest, then you just have to watch your grammar.
Now you're telling everybody our little secret. It's good to be here. And well done on all that you do. I thought that was a really illuminating interview with Uncle Sonny Rabo. Did you hear him say he's going to be 70 next year, March?
Yes.
So he's mentored a lot of us, and he's as you said, a media icon in the Nigerian broadcast firmament.
So today I'm garnished with my parents in the industry and my grandparents in the industry. All right, let's talk about period poverty in Nigeria. How far have we gone?
Well, first of all, I'd like to commend a lot of women out there who've been distributing pads to underserved communities, rural areas, schools, in order to mitigate the impact of period poverty on girls generally in Nigeria. The stats is there that 83 million Nigerians live below poverty line. You recall that recently the AFDP boss also said due to the COVID pandemic, about 30, did he say 30, 39 million people, Nigerians, may be added to the other figure because of the impacts of COVID-19 on homes. So, and just as you said in your intro, you talked about 1 in 10 African girls missing school because of period poverty. So that tells you that this is serious. This is a serious issue, and so I and my friends in the media have also joined the fray to look at how we can join in at least reducing period poverty in Nigeria. What does it mean even? It means period poverty is when a girl cannot maintain her menstrual cycle with the right menstrual products. With the sort of poverty rate we have in Nigeria, using sanitary pads or sanitary products or sanitary items have become a luxury. So you find a lot of our girls and even women using foam. They just cut foam from mattress or chair and they use. Some of them use wrappers. They cut wrappers and use. Some of them use leaves in extreme cases. And then you find our girls in secondary school when they also use tissue paper, which is not hygienic. So you find that we begin to have complications, health complications from little, and then grows, because the more you use tissue paper, it just doesn't. It's not right, and wrappers too, not right. So our girls get stained in school. That's why when you see them with cardigan, just know that that girl is stained. You
remind me of those days.
And then when you see a girl sitting there, break, she's not going. Short break, long break, she's still sitting down there because she's stained and she's ashamed of being ridiculed. So she'll sit down there until help comes. And if help doesn't come, she'll wait till it's after, closing hours. That's when she'll gather, the confidence to stand up and go sort herself.
Having said this,
Yes.
let me just cut you a bit there. Having said this, let's talk about stigmatization, because I know that I had a little experience so many years ago. I was in my early 20s, and I know that I boarded a commercial vehicle, and unfortunately, I was stained, terribly stained. When I stood up, the conductor, they screamed, the driver, everybody started screaming at me. It was as if, the ground should just open and just take me up as a way to rescue me at that point. Because, everybody, even the funny thing was, even the women inside the bus, everybody was talking as in, it was my fault that happened. And while the noise was going on, a bike rider just stopped beside me and said to me I should hop into the bike, and I without thinking, I just hopped there, and it took me to a nearby hotel, and I was able to do all that. Now let's talk about stigmatization. What are you doing, or your group, or what are we doing as as the general society about this? Or what do you think can be done?
Yeah, first of all, that it's so very gallant of you to share that story on air. I'll tell you, a friend of mine who was coming in from the UK, who's menopausal at the moment. Menopausal, it just comes when it wants, and then you get stained and all of that. She was stained. And women and men alike just didn't understand what it meant. It's just, I can't turn around to be scanned because I'm stained. See, it takes empathy to understand that sometimes you bleed not at the time you've programmed, you've calculated.
Exactly.
So sometimes you calculate it's going to start on Tuesday, behold, it comes Monday, and you're not prepared for it because you were thinking it's going to come. So there's that stigmatization, both in secondary schools, in the larger society, and wherever, in workplaces as well. We must understand that this is what makes us women. This is the difference between a man and a woman. If a woman is not menstruating we cannot nurture humanity. We cannot, multiply
Reproduce.
humanity. We cannot reproduce. So we need our men to empathize with us. When we were starting our campaign, we started with, what if men menstruated?
Wow.
If men menstruated, we're going to be talking, around their bear, their drinks. And so, oh boy, what we go do now? Oh boy, let's do this policy. Let's create this policy. So we want men, we want to suck them in to this campaign. They should not leave it to us. They should not stigmatize. When women are in their menstrual, period, they can be a bit, irritable. It's part of it because it's not normal. It's not a normal thing to start, bleeding like that. We're cranky. We're depressed. Some people get depressed during their period. We need men to understand with us. For me and my team members, apart from looking at that stigmatization point and bringing men in to understand that, look, when you see a woman going through this, just understand that psychologically, emotionally, she's going through a lot. So don't stigmatize her on top of it. However, we also want men to join us by helping us, because men are there at the policy level, to, create a policy that says, give pads to school-aged girls. If you can't do junior to secondary, at least start with junior secondary. Give them 1 pad per month. How much is it? If the government gets into this and gets into public-private partnership, it's going to crash the price, and they'll be able to give girls in junior secondary schools pads until they graduate, because that's the very basic level for education. You should be able to read and write properly when you've gone through junior secondary. We're pushing for that. We're pushing for legislation. We want to talk with our legislators to please look at, creating that kind of law. Again, we want well-meaning Nigerians for our men. And I'm addressing men today for a reason. We are your wives. We're your daughters. We're your nieces. We're your girlfriends. We're your side chicks. We're your mothers. And we're your moms. So we're your aunts. So we need you to join in this campaign to mitigate the impacts of period poverty in Nigeria. We need you to join us to say, we don't want 1 in 10 African girls to be missing school, because the danger is, you miss school this month, you miss school next month. The 3rd month, you're not likely to go back to school. So we have a lot of our girl children dropping out of school because of that, and, becoming hawkers of bits and pieces, on the roads. The more we get people educated, especially girls, the better it is for the country, because we are nurturers. We nurture the nation. So we must be given extra attention.
All right.
From public secondary schools.
Okay, so rounding off now, because we got to go. What are you people doing? What is your organization? You have an organization, is it?
Yes, we have our 10K for
just
one.
in 10 seconds.
Yes, we have our 10K for 1+1. What does that mean? It's a code. What does that
about
mean?
to say that.
If you give us 10,000 naira for one girl, we will make sure that girl gets a year's supply of sanitary pads. So it's a form of scholarship for girls in public schools, and we're starting with Lagos State. We'll get those girls, brilliant, but from poor homes. We assign 10,000 naira to one girl for a year. Every month, we'll go to her school and give her a pack of sanitary pad plus sanitizer, because we're COVID-19 compliant. We want you to understand the meaning of sanitation. You use your mask, you wash your hands, and use sanitizers, and then use the proper thing. If we give them a pack a month, we believe that within the 3 days or 5 days of their menstrual cycle, they can be in school, 8 hours in school. They will have sanitary pads to maintain their menses.
Thank you very much. You know that I'm also female-centric, and we can go on and on and on and on, but we got to call it a wrap on this segment. Yes, and Talk, thank you so much being my guest this morning, Funke Treasure.
Thank you for having me. Hey, Lagosians.